Da, 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 da.
Well, now you don't have your bell either.
No, I don't have my bell.
Because that's
I'll see if I can download a bell app.
There you go. I bet you they have that. I bet you they do.
I'm sure they do.
On one of our phone platforms.
App, the cigarette lighter app. Have you seen that?
And the beer app. Yeah.
They have a beer app?
They had a beer app. I don't think you can get it anymore.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah. I don't know
or
why.
You just got too drunk to get it.
Exactly.
I can't download it anymore.
So I'm looking at your name, and are you trying to be the famous rapper Flo Rida?
Flo Rida.
Yeah.
Because
that's a famous
where I'm
rapper
sitting right now. Is it really?
Yeah.
How do you
didn't know that?
That rapper did not steal the name from me?
It may be he did.
I'm going to take you on a little tour, and of course, no one else knows what I'm showing you.
Well, all I'm seeing is a lot of pixelation.
So describe it.
So I can't describe it. I see. Now I see a white building, very tall white building, and a pool that looks really, really dirty. Oh, is that a bay or something?
Not a pool. It's an inlet.
It's an inlet.
Cool, huh?
An islet. Very nice.
I don't know. An islet. No, it's not that. It's so we are in Florida right now. We're in Sarasota. And I decided to burn some Marriott points.
Nice. For our nice long weekend.
No, actually, we're flying home tomorrow morning. I've been down here for some time. So,
at least I get you
working remotely.
Right. At least I get you on your last night, when you should be out on a date with your wife. But hey, what's more important, a date with your wife or a podcast?
We've been dating all week.
Nice. And now you're sick of it.
I'm not.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her whatsoever.
I don't either. I'm surprised it took this long. So yes, no, we've had a nice time. We've done quite a few things, and the probably the biggest of which is we actually bought some property while we were down here.
You bought some property, or you bought a house?
No, we bought some property.
Is it just a field? No, it's a swamp, isn't it?
It's a property swap, yeah. So you know what the temperature has been in Wisconsin the last week and a half, right?
No, because I live in Nashville.
Stupidly cold. You don't check Wisconsin weather every morning?
No. Now I did check my dad's weather I did check my dad's weather in North Dakota, Montana area.
Okay.
And the warmest it got, I think, on Tuesday was -2.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it's a little bit colder than that.
70s and 80s here.
Yeah.
And I've been here for 12 days, something like that. And it's been great. And tomorrow morning we're going back to Cheeseland, and it's cold.
Yeah. You're not going to have along those same lines, I spent the previous week with our good friend Matt Smolik,
yes, Matt.
working with some dealers, and he lives in Cleveland, and it's very cold in Cleveland as well. He lives right on the lake, or very close to the lake, and he came down, and we have had that cold front come through, so it's very cold here as well.
Did you guys get ice by chance or not?
Yes. Oh yeah. It was a fun drive on Thursday afternoon when I was coming home. But not too bad, and we'll get to that in just a second, because I have to give my car some more kudos. And so I was with Matt, and he came down, and it was like 30 or 40 degrees out. I'm wearing my big puffy jacket because I've lived down here, and so 30 to 40 degrees is cold in the winter for us.
It's a little chilly.
It is a little chilly, and growing up in Minnesota, it's kind of weird to say that because, I'm used to a lot colder. But Matt came down, and he wasn't wearing a jacket. He wasn't wearing anything because he said 40 to 50 degrees is like a heat wave for me. It's hot down here compared to where I just came from.
Yes, he's right too.
Yeah. Yeah. But with the ice.
I know you're going to be surprised by this, because there has been literally no ice in Sarasota the entire time.
Well, what are you going to put in your drinks? How do you shake? Is that your martini doesn't get too warm for you?
Well, I think they have special ice downstairs in the bar,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah. So
If you really miss it, you can just put that on the floor and skate on it.
if you really miss it, yes.
Yeah.
They were
So,
making smoked old fashions down in the bar,
oh, now
which
you know what I'm
pretty
gonna go have.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to.
We should have done a happy hour again. Why
I
didn't we
know
think
I
of
was
that?
thinking that too. I would have liked to have
We don't
happy
plan
houred it
well
up.
enough. We really don't
But
plan at all.
no, that's true. But as I told you, we're meeting with our real estate agent
That
to
makes it
give her
more
some
fun.
money. Yeah.
That makes it a
Well,
lot.
I'm not saying there won't be drinks had, but it's not going to be happy hour on PoddiMouths. Hey, come on in. It's my real estate agent. What the heck? She'll
That's
say.
right. That would make for a really interesting show.
Actually, it might, but then she'd probably tell you too much and you'd know that I got ripped off on the property and all of that.
Yeah. Well, she's probably counting all of her money at her office right now.
I don't think it was that big a piece of property.
Oh.
So don't worry.
So the ice
Yeah.
storm, Matt and I drove.
Yeah.
We went from one end of Kentucky to the other end. So we went from the eastern end to the western end, which is
Oh my gosh.
driving
That's a
into the
drive.
ice. Oh, it is
Okay.
a big drive. Driving
Yeah.
into the ice, basically. So we get to the hotel, and we're driving separately, and Matt's like, "Do we want to meet in the lobby at like 6 o'clock and go get dinner?" And I'm like, "Yeah, with the way the weather is right now, I don't know if you've ever experienced southern ice before, but I think we need to go do dinner now before it gets too late so we can, safely get back." And he's like, "That's a really good idea," after 5 more minutes skating on the ice. And so we walk out and he said, "Do you want me to drive or do you want to drive?" And I said, "Well, let's look at it this way. I have a 4-wheel drive sedan that's twice as heavy as the sedan you're driving. I think we're going to take the Merc." I mean, that thing was a champ. And on the way home yesterday afternoon, I'm driving 80 down the freeway. Yes, I was driving 80 during an ice storm. Not a problem. No, it didn't.
Wow.
And I hit a couple of patches of ice, and the car just kind of looked at it and went, hee hee hee.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was thoroughly impressed with the performance of that car this week.
Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
I have to, okay, so if I had my dinger, I would ding it. Ding! Subaru is what I rented.
Uh-huh.
And it's the Legacy wagon.
Nice.
And you know what? And it is, generally speaking, pretty nice. And it's of course full-time all-wheel drive, and they handle beautifully.
Mhm.
I must give it credit for that. But my gosh, it's got all the electronics that drive me crazy, and they don't all work properly. So I'm sure it's just needs some
User error.
service or something like that. But
Uh-huh.
I normally, yes, I would default to that, but this time no. It monitors your eyes. So if your eyes leave the road, it gives you an audio visual reminder. Keep your eyes on the road, it says. Well, at one point it was doing it erroneously. And so I'm driving, bing, eyes on the road. Do I have to get out and physically put my eyes on the road? Is that what you're trying to have me do? So it's got some sort of a mess with that. And then the seatbelt light or dinger, when you unbuckle your seatbelt, it dings at you, which is fine. When the valet brings the car around and leaves it running, gets out, the keys are in the cup holder, and it's dinging because he unbuckled the seatbelt, and the dinging gets progressively louder.
Oh no!
Even though it's in park, it's in park, and
that's...
it's just louder. And it's, come on! And passenger and driver both have to buckle their seatbelts before the dinger stops.
Oh wow!
Oh, it's so annoying. And just little things like that may have tested well in focus groups, but do not test well in the real world.
Yeah.
So
isn't that always how it seems to happen anyways?
Yeah, it does.
That's not cool.
In many cases like that, you're right. Yeah. So I'm delighted for your good news
Yeah, I
car
mean, give it a
story.
week. Next week I'll be complaining about it, I'm sure. But
I don't think you will, because I mean, you've really come into um, uh, your relationship with your Mercedes has really evolved very nicely,
it
I think.
has. But I will tell you,
Yes,
and I honestly don't remember if we spoke about this previously. I I think it's a great car for my current lifestyle. What I mean by that isn't necessarily my personal lifestyle, because it does not match my personal family lifestyle. It matches
sure.
my job lifestyle. It's the perfect car for what I do. If I were to
Mhm.
ever change that, though, I probably would change into something else. I would probably go
Interesting.
after a Jeep or a truck or something like that,
Yeah,
because that's more
yeah,
of my lifestyle. It's more what I'm comfortable driving,
yeah.
or I like driving SUVs, but again, this is good for what it is, and it's a
Oh,
fantastic
for being
car.
on the road,
Hmm.
yeah, for being on the road, I agree with you. I think it's really a great choice for what you do. But I have a question. I'm glad you said Jeeps.
Yeah.
So the Gladiator, the Jeep pickup,
Hmm.
has a substantially longer wheelbase, it appears, than the Wrangler Unlimited.
It
Yes.
does. Yes. Hmm.
Have you driven one,
I have
a
not.
Gladiator?
I have not driven a
I
Gladiator.
would like to see, because if I have one complaint about the Wrangler and even the Unlimited is the short wheelbase. And inherently with a short wheelbase, it's a little rougher ride. Although, as I told you the last time I rented one, I was very impressed with
Hmm.
the ride. But it's still short wheelbase ride, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if extending it by, I'm guessing 8 inches or more for the Gladiator,
Hmm.
what sort of a difference that makes. If any of
So,
our listeners know, that would be really interesting
well,
to
this listener does
hear.
know, sort of.
Well, I can hardly wait.
Yeah. There's actually, and I'll send it to you. There's actually a YouTube. I think it's Edmunds did a
Oh, okay.
review, and they took both of them, and they took it over this similar tests. So
Brilliant.
it's the reason of the short wheelbase is for climbing and rock climbing and things like that. The
Oh,
longer
sure, but
wheelbase,
yeah, you're right about that. But you know what? It has more to do with the departure and approach angles
yes,
than it
that's
does
where I was going.
with it. No, no, you're absolutely right. And if you look at the Gladiator, the front approach angle is very short. I
Yes,
mean, it's similar, I would think, to the Wrangler
it is.
and
Most of the
the
differences are going
Unlimited.
to be in the rear end under the bed,
Yeah, I would agree because
and
that hangover
yeah, and so
hangover differences.
hangover,
Yeah,
they differ depending on the type of
they
alcohol.
certainly
Um,
do.
so anyway, the this video, they go through all the different things, and that's one of the things they said. Besides the departure angle, is that the Gladiator does ride a little bit better because it has the longer wheelbase. It's a little
Sure,
bit smoother.
sure. Yeah, if you find that, send it to me because I'm just curious about it. The other thing I'll say about the Gladiator is it's uglier,
Oh, much uglier. It is. You're absolutely right. And I'm
but
torn.
it looks better with big wheels and
It
tires.
does. And I've said this before. I'm torn
Yeah,
because I really do want a truck, because it's almost a necessity. Almost,
yeah,
not
yeah.
really. I mean, we could live without it, but it would be a very big help.
Mm,
But I can't get past the looks of it and the fact that I really do want a Jeep, and I've wanted a Jeep since the minute I sold my last one.
yeah.
So I'm torn. I really am.
We've talked about this before. Do you look at a Jeep as a potential lease vehicle or as a
The
purchase?
the only reason I would, I lean towards purchase. I think when you're talking about something like that, it's not a vehicle I would tend to want to get out of in 3 years. It's probably something I'd want to keep for a very long time. And that's kind of how I used to judge the difference between a lease and a purchase.
Yep.
It's or at least what I recommend to people. But when it comes to just the sheer cost of a Jeep, and that's really one of the reasons I've stayed away from it too, is they're just so freaking expensive that I
They
would
are
consider,
crazy.
yeah, I would consider leasing and maybe doing a shorter term lease and then buying out the lease at the end, maybe
Buying
depending
at the
on.
end.
Go ahead.
That's a good thought. No, I was just going to say that's a really good thought because I guess when I think of when I think of vehicles I want to own, it would be something like that I would feel comfortable taking it off road,
Right.
and because with a leased vehicle, I would kind of go, I don't know if I want to take it off road
Yeah.
because what if something happens and, I'm
Well,
having to do
and
body repairs.
that's a really good reason to think that way. In my experience though, having owned two different Jeeps, one of them being used and one of them being brand new,
Mhm.
I never really took them off road as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I would agree with that. I think however often you think you'll take it off road, divide that by, I mean,
well over
divide
half.
it.
Yeah,
I would
divide it.
say multiply it by 10%
Yeah,
because that's probably the reality. But it's nice to know you can. I guess that's
exactly.
the
Exactly.
attraction.
And
Yeah.
it
So
was I I took some other cars off road. Now, like I said, one of them was brand new.
hey, rental cars you can take off road anytime.
Absolutely.
It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. Yeah.
Um, no, seriously, so I had a new one and I had a used one. And the new
Mhm.
one I actually took off road more than the used one. But even that said, the Jeep was brand new. I didn't want to mess it up for at least the first 2
Yeah.
years I owned it. So it really
But
does
after
it. If
that,
you're
you
going to
didn't
buy a
care.
brand new one, are you really going to take it off road? That's my other problem with people buying it to take it off road. Because I would
Yeah.
go out, honestly, if that was my plan, I would go out and I'd buy a used one because I wouldn't feel
Yeah.
as bad about taking it off road.
Yeah. Understood. I, I don't know how bad I would feel, but yeah, I mean, I get the idea. It's just that most people, when you watch any ad or anything like that that shows people taking vehicles like Jeeps or Hummers or whatever off road,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually not accurate for the off-roading that I would do. I mean, they're approaching these hills and rocks at high speeds, and that's not real off-roading that I've ever done.
Right.
It's always low speed, and
Yep.
you've got spotters sometimes, and I mean, that's the correct way to off-road to really show what these
Yeah. And
vehicles can
how
do.
many people actually do that in reality?
Well,
So going back to that,
you mean high speed stuff?
well, yeah. Um,
Yeah, I
but
would hope
even
not.
but even the slow off-road stuff with a brand new Jeep. I know there are Jeep
Yep.
clubs here in Nashville or in the Nashville area. So I have friends that are part of them and they do go off-roading, but it's usually just off of paths. And I will tell you this, not one of them drives a brand new Jeep. They have a brand new Jeep, but
Interesting.
they don't take those off-road. They take the older ones off-road.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and I imagine the old ones, the ones that they've had for a while are set up for that
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
especially if they're in a club or something like that.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
you bring up a thought that I had a few days ago as I was driving, thinking about it was driving into the ice storm and stuff and the cars that I've had that can actually stand up to stuff like that. My Jeep's having been one of those vehicles. And I was thinking,
Mhm.
one thing, and I know we need to have Matt back on again to discuss this. But one thing that I just still can't necessarily wrap my head around lifting a Jeep.
Oh,
I think they look cool,
what?
but once you get to a certain point, do they really work the same way? I'm not
Well,
communicating it the way I want to because I'm thinking, okay, you're up high and then you
yeah,
hit a patch of ice, you're more liable to slip and slide and flip versus being lower to the ground and being the way that the manufacturer designed the vehicle to operate.
sure.
I don't.
Well, I don't either. And Matt, notwithstanding, Mike too would be a good guy
Yeah.
to
Yes.
bring back and
Yep.
talk about that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's the Jeep
Because
expert.
well, he is. He knows his Jeeps like you do, and I think that I find it interesting because that the vast majority of people who do lift kits, and which includes suspension
Yep.
modification and often brakes and often, well, certainly wheels and tires, those upfits. I can't tell you a number, but in my mind, it's about 95% of them never see off-road action.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's all pure looks. And maybe that's it. I just don't think they look good. I almost, and I'm going to be shot by all the Jeepers. I know there's probably someone standing outside of my house right now ready to shoot me. I just think they look, I almost think, and I don't want to say stock. I don't think they look better stock. I just don't think they look better lifted.
Well, it depends how big the lift is. A 2, maybe 3-inch lift is workable, and often you can get away, my understanding, with a 2-inch lift without, and add wheels and tires, without totally revamping the suspension.
Right. Yeah.
But
I would say that the most I'd go is an inch.
Yeah. Well, again, it really depends on the wheels and tires you're looking for.
Yeah, going an inch and then putting smaller tires on.
That'd be silly.
Yeah.
Smaller hard plastic tires like you do on wagons.
Yes.
That's probably probably not a good idea.
No.
But a 2 or 3-inch lift, you can still get 30 1 or 2-inch tires on there. And I don't know. I've seen how they look and I think it looks great. But if you're doing a 5 or 10-inch lift and getting these it just doesn't. I'm with you. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I just don't. Anyway, so I guess it's not. So anyway, we need to
get No, it's not. But you and I need to get a PoddiMouths Gladiator, and
we should get
deck it out the way we want.
There you go.
And then a trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. I exactly. I was just going to say, and I spoke to Bill about that recently, because he sent me an old, I think it was was it a Nissan? I think it was an old Nissan.
Our friend Bill Taylor. Yeah. We're talking about listeners, of course.
It was an old one.
The vehicle nanny.
Yeah. I think the driver, the steering wheel was even on the right-hand side. That's kind of, but it was neat. It was old flatbed. And he said, this is be the perfect thing to build a camper on. Of course I can't find it now.
On a flatbed truck?
Yeah, it's an old, hold on, here it is.
With a right-hand steer?
It's a 1995 Nissan Vanette. Oh, hold on. Can you see that?
Wow. Yes.
And it's got the drop-down sides.
Well, I guess I didn't know the goal was to build the ugliest possible.
Right? Bill, I didn't say that.
Bill, I did, because Shazam, that thing's ugly.
It does have right-hand steering. See?
Yeah. So you know what that's perfect for?
Different country?
Or this country, and then delivering mail
while
you're in your RV.
I found my new career.
Yeah. I think you should. That would be great.
My grandfather, wasn't a mail person. He didn't deliver mail, but he did work in a post office in Minneapolis.
Okay. So you have to be careful when you say things like that. My grandfather wasn't a mail person. You have to be careful.
He definitely was a mail.
Because I think our listeners always suspected that you had, some alternate history in your family. I have no idea where I'm going.
You were really, that was a stretch.
My grandfather was a mail carrier, and
no, he was not a mail carrier. Oh,
not a carrier.
He was a mail person.
No,
he worked in a post office.
Was he like the local postmaster?
I honestly have no idea. I should ask my dad. I just know he worked for the Postal Service, but I don't know what he did. Okay. And he was not a delivery person.
Even in our little town in which I grew up, we had a postmaster, and they probably ran, 15 letters through there every day.
Yeah.
So, but he's still the master, and I think that's awesome.
That is awesome. So speaking of, you are, I think you're probably aware that Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines, they have their own television network now on Discovery Plus.
They do.
Called the Magnolia Network. And they have quite a few new programs on there. And we have been watching a few of them. And one of them was all about the lady who has the restaurant that's in the old mill that's in, I think it's in Maine. It's really interesting. We watched the first episode. We haven't watched any of the other ones, but this restaurant is so popular that their entire reservation book is done in 1 or 2 weeks in April. And people send postcards in and they pick the postcards for the dates moving out for the next 6 months. And that's how they do their entire reservation system. So it's a lottery, and that's how you do it. And one of the reasons they chose to do that, speaking of post offices, is their post office. They have 2 businesses in town. One is the post office and one is the general store. And the post office wasn't getting enough business, so it was about to shut down. And this was one way for them to help save the post office, because they worried that if they lost the post office, they'd lose the general store and then the town would be gone.
So how can a restaurant be that busy and not have other businesses in town capitalizing on that?
I guess that's what the rest of the season is for.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah,
So you said in Maine, because usually Chip and Joanna, at least initially, were only doing renovations in Waco,
so
Texas.
This is their network. So it's not just their new show. They do have a fixer-upper show. And then Joanna also has her cooking show. And then they have a bunch of other shows that are on this network. And this happens to be one of those shows.
I thought that was just Discovery Plus that housed all those shows.
No, Discovery Plus houses all of those networks. And Discovery also has its own programming. But, you've got HGTV. This is all Scripps.
Sure.
So the Scripps network. And so you've got HG, you've got DIY, you've got all of these other channels. And this just happens to be one of them.
That's awesome. Well, we're big fans. I've watched them with Lisa for a long time, and we've loved, Fixer Upper for. And it's fun watching them because they're just good. They're good people. They're good on camera. Chip is funny. They have a nice family.
So have you watched the new one?
Their own places. No, we haven't, because I'm too cheap to pay the $4.95.
You should. I encourage you. Just shut off your HBO or whatever. And
will you pay the $4.95?
No, I won't.
For me?
I've already got my own. I'm already paying my own.
Well, I think you should pay.
Maybe they should sponsor us.
Maybe they should. Ding. If they knew the bell wasn't here, they would never sponsor us.
That's true. That's very true. Anyway, I do have to say, this will be my last thing about Chip and Joanna Gaines. Their new program we watched. No, we watched the first couple of episodes of their new Fixer Upper show. I'm actually really impressed by it. I like it. It's not much different than the old one, but the interesting thing is, at least I felt, Jen didn't necessarily agree with me. I felt that they were a little bit more relaxed, and like Chip was making some jokes I don't think he would have ever had made when they were on, was it HGTV? Or with
another network, yes.
And it's like, okay, all right. I can see there. You can see a little bit more of their personality.
Edgy jokes or what?
Edgier. I mean, it's still Chip and Joanna Gaines, so it's not going to be
right. Yeah,
but yeah, like
I was going to say, they're not going to be too edgy.
Right. For example, just as an example, he was pretending that his measuring tape was a flask, and so yeah.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. So little things like that. I mean, nothing major, nothing that you're going to make you go, oh, I can't believe it. No, but it's just like, you could just see that they're having a little bit more fun because now they're a little freer to do their own thing.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, they're neat people. They have certainly done loads of good for Waco, Texas.
They have, and, put Waco on the map.
Town has,
in a good way.
Well,
someone else put it on the map, but it was not a good way.
Well said. Yes, that's very well said. It's definitely been on the map before, but now, of course, I find myself thinking of David Koresh. Thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome.
And who is your friend, the Attorney General? I don't think you used to date her, but what was her name?
I don't know.
Come on, she made Waco famous, or Waco made her famous.
The only other thing that I ever knew about Waco was Baylor.
Oh, Baylor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one of them. But Waco was the Branch Davidians.
Well, no, I knew that, but I'm the
okay.
Those are the
But who was
those three that I know? The rest of it, I don't know.
But who was the Attorney General that dealt with that?
No.
But Lisa, yes. Who was the Attorney General in the Waco crap?
Who was what?
The Attorney General during the Waco, Texas crap.
Janet Reno.
Thanks, honey.
Hi, Lisa.
We know Janet Reno. We know Reno. Nick says hi. Wow, she did like a verbal flip him off.
Flip you off or flip me off?
She's no, you off.
Well,
she said hi, Nick.
I know it's
I'm just
like
kidding.
verbal. I'm used to it. My wife does it just to me all day long.
She does.
Actually, she does, but she's joking. I hope. Probably not.
Is she?
No.
I don't know. She does it all day. Maybe not so much.
Maybe I should really look into that.
And speaking of names,
yes.
Besides Janet Reno, who I know you were sort of secretly hot for her.
Oh yeah.
So I hesitate to bring
not
that
secretly.
up,
I mean, I was outwardly.
Well, I just didn't think Jen knew about it. So when she
when does
listens
Jen
to
not
PoddiMouths,
know something about me?
I'm gonna just look at her and say, "Hey, Jen, Janet Reno, wink," and then she'll know.
Yeah, she will. She'll probably wink back.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and going on.
We're
really going down a weird path here.
So what? Have you met us?
I haven't. Who are you?
We always do that.
That's true.
Your name is Master and Commander on the screen right now. That's very nice.
Yes, I was going to do Master something, but I couldn't think of anything else funny. And Master and Commander is not all that funny. It's actually a really good movie.
It is a pretty good movie.
Yeah, long.
Russell Crowe, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep,
yeah.
Based on a true story. Yeah. I don't know.
You just made that
I did.
Up.
What is it? 97% of all statistics are made up on the spot?
That's correct. I love Cinderella, based on a true story.
If you say something with enough confidence, people will believe it.
They will believe it.
So I'm going to say this.
PoddiMouths.
PoddiMouths is the best podcast in the United States today. It is the number one goodest podcast.
Janet Reno is one of our biggest fans.
Yes.
Is she still alive?
I have no idea.
Don't pretend like you're not still pen pals with her.
No, I don't use pens. I use a keyboard. I'm keyboard pals.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's not awesome. Okay.
So how long does it going to
moving along from Master?
Do what?
Yes. Moving along from Master and
Commander. I was going to say, how long is it going to take you to get to your dinner reservations? I mean, your real estate agent.
I don't think too long. I think they're coming here because we told them where we're staying.
Oh, well, that's scary.
I said, well, no, it's just that I said we were burning Marriott points because I would never pay retail at the Ritz-Carlton in beautiful.
I thought Ritz was part of Marriott.
It is.
Yeah.
That's how I stay here.
Oh, you're at the Ritz.
Marriott.
I see. Okay. Yeah. You lost me somewhere in the translation. I'm like, why are you staying at a Marriott property when you can stay at the Ritz?
Because I stayed at a bunch of Fairfield Inns, so now I'm at the Ritz.
There you go.
Using my points.
Nice.
Yes, but it's very nice. John, and anyway, so Lisa mentioned that we're staying at the Ritz, and she said, "Oh, we'll come and join you."
But John,
surprise.
Are you putting on the Ritz?
I may. I have to watch Young Frankenstein first.
Okay, I don't get that reference.
You haven't seen
I have seen Young Frankenstein, but I still don't.
Okay.
I was talking about the song.
Put on the Ritz! When he did they did like a show that was focused on the monster. Look what I've done. I've taught this monster. And they did like
I remember
a dance
that now.
routine.
I remember that now. Okay.
And the song was Putting on the Ritz. Put on the Ritz!
He's dead.
He is dead.
Actually, all of them are.
He was
now.
Good and also on. They are, except for Terry Garr.
Oh, that's right.
Lisa just brought this up the other day.
Where did I see? Something was wrong with Terry Garr, though. What did I see? I saw her in the news recently.
She actually said, "Did you know that something is wrong with Nick Kubick?" And everyone said, "Oh, yeah. I'm kidding. You listen to PoddiMouths?"
Terry Ann Garr. She's retired.
That's not wrong.
That's not wrong.
That's good.
No, she's 76 years old.
Okay.
And I don't know.
What was her most famous line, would you say, from Young Frankenstein? I can think of a couple.
I can't think of any. I can see her. She was gorgeous in that movie.
Beautiful. Yes.
I can't.
Especially compared with Peter Boyle.
Yeah, well. Anyway,
who played the monster. Yes.
I don't know.
So I think my favorite line was when Gene,
Hackman, Gene,
come on,
crap. He was married to Radna Gildner.
yes,
Gilda Radner. Radna Gilder.
nice.
I'm good.
So he was the lead character, Gene
Wilder. Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. Thank you. I was going to say Gene.
I almost said
Lola
Hackman.
Brigida.
I'm like, that's
no.
not Gene Hackman.
No, that's
Not even
correct.
in the same
Anyway,
ballpark.
in the movie, speaking of Terry Garr, he said, "What knockers?" Because the doors on the mansion were massive with massive knockers. And he goes, "What knockers?" And Terry Garr said, "Oh, thank you, doctor." It was beautiful. And yeah, and then at some point they got into the back of the wagon and it was full of hay. And he got in with Terry Garr, and he says, "Maybe," she said, "maybe you'd like to go for a night's roll in the hay."
Yeah. Okay, I remember. I'm sorry. She has MS, and she actually suffered a brain aneurysm, survived it in 2006.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, saying that she was the only one left alive, I did not mean to say she was perfect, in perfect condition.
Right.
So, and she's brand new.
But Gene Wilder just passed away recently.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, which was very, very sad. And for those of you who don't know who Gene Wilder is, he was also Willy Wonka in the very first Willy Wonka.
He was Willy Wonka.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, yes, talented group of people. And if you have not seen, listeners, Young Frankenstein, where have you been, first of all? Second of all, even though it's an older movie, highly worth seeing. It's quite entertaining.
It's Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. Yep.
Correct. Until later in the movie when he says, "I'm Frankenstein."
I'm gonna have to go watch it tonight.
I
think it's still too early to introduce Peyton to that movie. Just saying.
Probably so. There's enough innuendo that I'm not even sure I should allow you to watch it.
Yeah. Okay, last note, and then I'm going to let you go because I know you've got stuff to do. I know it's a short episode, but I'm sure people are happy about that one. Okay. Bill doesn't want to spend as much time in the cold, so this is good for him.
Or in the gym. I actually listened, like Bill, while I was in the gym this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Listened to a PoddiMouths episode.
Did you?
The one with the dodecaphonic stereo.
Nice. So, but now
whatever. That was a while ago.
You must have enjoyed it because you're actually here recording another one. So we must be doing something right.
Actually, I figured we'd record this one to replace that one because it was so bad.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're going to have to record 107 more.
Yes, just to even it up.
Anyway.
Yes. Okay. To your point, you were going to say.
I don't remember. What was my point? We were talking about movies. We were talking. You and I in the past have talked about Downton Abbey, and that you have enjoyed Downton Abbey, and you've watched it.
Yes.
Another one. It's not anything like Downton Abbey, but it is a period piece that my wife and I got into that you might enjoy or you might not. I think there's a 50-50 chance there. Bridgerton.
I've heard about that. Our friend Hazmat has recommended that.
I would recommend it. It's good. It's very, very good. We enjoyed it. Let me just put it that way. Okay. We enjoyed it. It's not Downton Abbey level, but it's good.
The main question is, did Jen enjoy it?
Yeah, that's the only reason I bring it up. If we both enjoy something,
she's way more astute.
She really
way
is.
More astute
she really is.
When you really both enjoy something, I don't know. Can you think of any other examples?
No. Well, Downton Abbey.
Cereal.
Don't know. She doesn't like cereal. I like cereal.
No, she doesn't.
No.
Do you?
Yeah.
But you never have any?
No. She won't let me.
We don't either. It's like, so whatever Lisa doesn't like, we don't have. Green bean casserole. Haven't had it since we started. I know, can't have it.
I'm sorry. You can come here and have some. But down here, it's not casserole. No, wait, no, down here it is casserole. Up there it's hot dish, right?
Oh, well, she does a hamburger hot dish.
There you go. Delightful. Down here, it's hamburger casserole.
Oh, yeah. Or goulash in Wisconsin.
Goulash. Oh, I miss goulash.
Yeah,
I think that's the perfect
I
place
used
to
to
end it. Folks, if you want to tell us your
Yeah.
goulash recipes, head up to PoddiMouths.com, leave us a comment, go up to Facebook, Instagram, any of those different social media places and do the same. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can also head over to YouTube and listen to our podcast there and like and subscribe there as well. All of that helps, believe it or not. Ripley's, believe it or not.
Sure does.
John, do you have anything
Sure.
else to say?
I do, but we don't have
We
time
don't have
for
time.
it. Let's finish later, but let's eat some goulash because now I'm starving for goulash.
You can get the Ritz-Carlton version.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Well, you and Lisa
Hey,
have a very...
real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. You broke up and I'm missing your point. What are you saying?
Oh, nothing. I didn't break up. I was just pausing.
Oh,
I was going to say, but at the Ritz-Carlton, they do have a wonderful shrimp and grits that you have to try if you haven't yet. Sarasota, Florida. Check it out if you have not.
nice. Well, I'm going to go downstairs and have dinner now. So you
Do
have
it.
a
Goulash.
very safe trip home, you and Lisa. Make sure that at least
Thanks,
Lisa
brother.
gets home in one piece. I mean,
Hey,
2 or 3 is fine.
I could actually stand to lose a few pieces. There's no question.
Yeah, don't do that. All right. Enjoy your new property. Hopefully you get it. We'll be thinking about you, praying for you, depending on what part of the country you're in and what you believe, and all that good stuff. You like that middle of the road? Good. Yeah, I thought you'd enjoy that.
Really wow.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next. Well, it's not the weekend for them. I'm sorry. Have a great week, everybody. We're going to enjoy our weekend.